Good morning, students. So, in the last class, we completed that heating effects of current, and that means the total current electricity topic. And so now we are going to discuss about capacitors. So, actually, some in some books it will be given like it is a part of the electrostatics, but actually we are discussing after completion of current electricity, so that you can solve these capacitors more easily, because that finding the equivalent capacitance or effective capacitance, that circuit analysis will be there. So as we completed already the circuit analysis in current electricity, so you can find the effective capacitance of the system easily in that given circuit without any further discussion. You can solve those capacitor circuits easily, right? And so now let us see about this capacitors here. So capacitors. And so now what is capacitor and what is the capacitance? So capacitors means, suppose if you are taking some liquid, if you want to take some liquid, if you want to store some liquid, we use some devices like containers, like it may be bucket or water bottle or a tin or a tank. So that means in this type of storages of in this type of devices, we store some certain amount of liquid, right? And so now those are containers which are used to store the liquids. And similarly, to store some electric charges, if you want to store some charges, right, you can't store it in any like containers. So that means for this we devise a special device. For that we need some special devices called capacitors. So that means capacitors are basically devices used to store the charges and electrostatic energy. That means these capacitors in the form of electric field, they stores they stores the charge. Basically those are the simply we define them as the devices used to store the charges or called capacitors. In addition to the charges, it is storing the charges in the sense it is also storing some electric field, because whenever charge is there, there will be some electric field will be there. So that means whenever electric field is there and some energy is also associated with that we discussed already in the applications of the Gauss law, electric field energy density. If you are taking a charged sphere, from the surface of that sphere to up to infinity, that energy, if electric field will exist, and so that we can define the electric field energy, and we define that energy density also, right? So that means whenever charges are there, automatically field will be there, and whenever field is there, automatically energy will be there. So that means now capacitors can be defined as capacitors. Now write the definition. The devices used to store charges. The devices used to store charges and electrostatic energy in the form of electric field. Electrostatic energy in the form of electric field are called capacitors. So now, as I said, to store some liquid, we are using some containers, right? It may be like water bottle or bucket or tank, as I said. And we express how much water can be stored, we express it as a volume. That means the volume of that bucket is say 10 liters and volume of that bottle is 1 liter or 2 liters, or volume of the tin is 10 liters or 20 liters. So like that we express certain volume. That means up to how much amount of liquid can be stored in that. So that is nothing but we call it as a capacity of that device or capacity of that container, right? And similarly here, the property of this capacitor, which indicates how much amount of energy or how much amount of charge can be stored in that. So that is nothing but we define it as a capacitance of the capacitor. And in olden days, remember that in olden days these capacitors are also called condensers. So sometimes in the problems you may find that word condenser. So condenser is nothing but capacitor only. So capacitor is also called a condenser. That means that is a device like our resistor, right? In electricity we use that resistor and resistance. Resistor is a device which produces that an amount of that resistance in that circuit. Similarly, this capacitor or condenser is a device which stores that energy. And how much amount of energy it can store means that we express in terms of the capacitance of that device. So that means now we call that as a capacitance. So capacitance we can define it as the ability to store the charges, or how much amount of charge can be stored in that. That means that measure of that amount of charge it can be stored is nothing but we call it as a capacitance. So or simply we generally define that as the ability to store the charges is called the capacitance. So just write that definition. The ability to store the charges, is called capacitance. Capacitor or condenser is a device. Capacitor or condenser is a device, and capacitance is its property. Capacitance is its property. And now actually let us see the mathematical definition of this capacitance here. Suppose if you are taking any object here, like any conducting surface, let us consider, and if you are giving certain amount of charge here, then we know it possesses some potential. There will be some potential for this object, right? And next, suppose I am increasing the charge on this. If I am increasing the charge on this body, then the potential of this surface also increases, right? Suppose if I am taking, as we know the already expression for the spherical conductor, suppose I am taking here, let us say it as a spherical shell. It is having some charge q. Then potential radius is r. Then potential of this shell we can write as kq by r. Electrostatics we derived that potential of this spherical shell, right? Now if suppose the charge on this is doubled, now I am increasing the charge from q to 2q. Then potential, this final potential, let it be v dash is equal to now k into 2q by r. That means now this potential is also doubled, right? That means if charge on the object is doubled, the potential of this object is also doubled. So that from that what we can write is the potential of this object is directly proportional to the charge. So that we can conclude here, right? So the potential of this object, is directly proportional to the charge, or we can write this as potential is equal to, we can write this as some q by c. That means this is q into 1 by c we can write, where that 1 by c is nothing but our proportionality constant, and which generally we express it as q is equal to cv, or from that so where this q is, where that c is nothing but, where c is called capacitance. So therefore this capacitance is equal to, we can write this c is equal to q by v. So this is the formula for this capacitance, mathematical formula for this capacitance here. Q by V, where V is the potential or potential difference actually, that is. And so then write that, and after that general definition we define there. After that we know the potential of an object, is directly proportional to the charge given to it. So therefore V is proportional to Q, or V is equal to Q into 1 by C. That 1 by C is just we are taking it as some proportionality constant, or from that we are writing Q is equal to CV, or actually where that C is nothing but we call capacitance of that given capacitor or the given device. Or this capacitance can be defined as it is the ratio of charge to its potential. And actually the potential difference between this, if you are taking a single object like which we call isolated object, then it is the potential difference between that object and infinity. If you are taking the two conducting objects who are very close to each other, then the potential difference between them we need to write here, right? So write the definition. Therefore capacitance of a capacitor can be defined as the ratio of charge given to the object to its potential or potential difference. That means, as I said, if you are taking two objects together, two conducting surfaces together, then we need to find the potential difference, potential difference. And now see this. The important thing here you should note here is this capacitance we are defining it as a Q by V, right? And so that means now the capacitance is the ratio of charge to potential we are defining. Now if suppose if I ask if charge is doubled, how the capacitance of the capacitor changes? If charge on device is doubled, how the capacitance of the capacitor changes? So capacitance of the capacitor remains same. So we discussed one example there. If charge is doubled, potential difference is also doubled, or potential of that object is also doubled. And so that this ratio will be a constant value. So you can observe that these two are proportional. If charge is doubled, potential is doubled. If charge is reduced to half, then potential is also reduced to half. But that ratio is a constant value. So from that what we can conclude is this charge does not depend on the this capacitance does not depend on the charge or potential difference. But on what factors it depends on means we will discuss later. Actually it depends on the size of the device and the shape of the device, and it depends on the dimensions of this object. Size and shape means it also includes the dimensions, and it also depends on the surroundings. That means the medium in which that capacitor is placed. So it also depends on the medium between the two plates of that capacitor, right? And so then note that here capacitance of a capacitor does not depends on charge on it or potential difference. Charge on it or potential difference. But it depends on size and shape in brackets, right? Dimensions. What dimensions means we will discuss it later. After deriving an expression, then you will get the clarity about that, on what dimensions it will depend. Size and shape in brackets or dimensions of the capacitor, and medium between the two plates of the capacitor. So generally capacitor means two surfaces will be there. We will discuss it later. So E also nothing but actually the potential difference between them. The potential difference between them is nothing but we name that as a V here. So that means those are the factors on which this capacitance will depends. Now let us come back to the units here. From this expression you can write here the units of the capacitance, or so write that you can write from this expression you can write this as coulomb per volt, right? Because this charge is expressed in coulombs and this potential difference is expressed in volt. So coulomb per volt the unit, or that is also called farad. So this coulomb per volt or farad. That means that is a name of, in the remembrance of name of the scientist Faraday. So that they gave this unit farad. So write this small f here, that means it is a farad. And actually these two are equal. That means 1 coulomb per volt is equal to 1 farad you can write. And which is represented with this capital F. That farad is represented with a capital F. And actually this farad is a very big unit. And so that we express generally the capacitance of the capacitors in terms of the either microfarad, nanofarad or picofarad. So we express like that. So mention that farad is a very big unit. So that capacitance of a capacitor is expressed in microfarad or nanofarad or picofarad. You know that micro means 10 power minus 6 farad, and nano means 10 power minus 9, and pico means 10 power minus 12. And you will get a clarity after we will discuss some capacitance of the certain big object we will derive there. Then after that you will get the clarity how big that 1 farad means. So then that is about the definition of this capacitance. The definition is clear. So it is defined as a ratio of charge to potential or potential difference. And so the capacitance is the ability of the device to store the charge. That means how much amount of charge it can store, that we are measuring in terms of this. And so then capacitance is a property of the device called capacitor, right? And so now let us calculate this capacitance of an isolated capacitor. So capacitance of an isolated capacitor. Capacitance of isolated sphere. So that means isolated sphere means there is no any surrounding conducting objects in the surroundings of or in the environment of the sphere here. We are taking a conducting sphere of radius r. This is a conducting sphere of radius r. And now suppose it is given some charge q. And then we can write the potential of this. So just to mention that, consider an isolated conducting sphere. Consider an isolated conducting sphere of radius r. Let q be the charge given to the sphere. Then its potential V can be written as kq by r, right? That is the potential on the surface of this conducting sphere, which we already know, or which is nothing but, let us substitute that k value also, we will get the more clarity. Then we can write this as q by 4 pi epsilon naught into r. So this is the potential of this sphere. Now we are going to define the capacitance of this sphere. So now let us see the capacitance of this sphere. We know this capacitance is equal to, capacitance C is equal to, our formula is Q by V or Q by delta V. This between and other object we consider as infinity if only isolated object is there. So actually here I am saying Q by potential difference you need to write. And generally capacitor means two metallic surfaces will be there placed very close to each other, whatever may be the shape of that surfaces. And if only such an isolated plate is there, then we write the potential difference between this V means the potential difference between this and infinity. And we know infinite potential difference is 0 only. So that potential difference is equal to potential on the surface of the sphere only, right? So that's what we are taking here. So actually this meaning is potential difference you need to write. And so now let us substitute that value here. So Q is equal to, C is equal to Q by, this V value is nothing but Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R. Right? And therefore that Q you can cancel here, therefore this capacitance is 4 pi epsilon naught R we can write. So that is the capacitance of an isolated sphere. So that means capacitance C is equal to 4 pi epsilon naught R. So from that you will get some clarity. And capacitance depends on, now we can observe that capacitance depends on radius of the sphere here, right? So that means if you are taking a big sphere, then automatically its capacitance will be more. That means that depends on the size of this. And for the sphere we are getting this one. If you are taking like a square plate or two parallel plates, if you are taking, you will get another capacitance, another expression. So that means now we will discuss it later. So that means now this is the capacitance expression, and you can also observe that it depends on the medium. So if the surrounding medium is having some dielectric, that means if the sphere is placed in vacuum, we are assuming here, and you know if it is placed in vacuum, then this constant will be 4 pi epsilon naught. If it is placed in any dielectric medium, and here itself you will get 4 pi k epsilon naught you will get, where k is the dielectric constant of that medium, right? So that means that capacitance will depend on this medium here. And here we can also mention that this capacitance of a, particularly for this sphere, it is directly proportional to the radius. So it is directly the capacitance. This point is also important here. The capacitance of a sphere, isolated sphere. Isolated sphere means it is not in the surroundings of any conducting medium. So that means any conducting object is not there in the surroundings of that sphere. So that is, and it is not connected anywhere. There is no either grounding connection or it is not connected to any other object. So that means that such an object is nothing but we call isolated. So then in that case the capacitance is directly proportional to the radius of the sphere here. Now with the help of this, let us calculate the capacitance of the earth. So now let us see the capacitance of this earth here, as we know the by assuming that earth as a sphere. Capacitance of earth. So now let us see the capacitance of this earth. And now we know the formula here. We know the radius of earth is, we can take it as 6.4 into 10 power, that means you can write it as 6,400 kilometers, generally which we know the value. After that I will express in powers here. So 6,400 kilometers, right? Or which you can write this as 64 into 10 power 5 meters, or 6.4 into 10 power 6 you can write. So that is radius of the earth. Now its capacitance we can write this as, so its capacitance C is equal to 4 pi epsilon naught r. Therefore this C is equal to, this 4 pi epsilon naught means we know 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is 9 into 10 power 9. So this is 1 by 9 into 10 power 9. So I can write this as 64 into 10 power 5 by this is 9 into 10 power 9, right? And so then its value is, if we simplify this, its value will get approximately, the capacitance of this earth is considered to be approximately 711 microfarad. 711 microfarad. That is the capacitance of this capacitance of this earth here, right? So now from this you can estimate that how big that farad is. Even if you are taking a capacitor of radius of size of this earth, then we are getting like its capacitance is of order microfarad only, right? That means 711 microfarad only we are getting. And suppose that means from that you can consider that even if you are taking a capacitor of size of earth, its capacitance is we are getting of order microfarad only we are getting here. So that means that that means that 1 farad is a very big unit. And so because of that reason the capacitance are assumed to be, that means we express in terms of this generally you will get the values in terms of micro, nano or picofarads only, right? And from this you may also calculate that what should be the radius of a capacitor, imaginary capacitor whose capacitance is 1 farad. Like suppose if you want to calculate that one, you can also calculate that one here. If suppose capacitance is 1 farad, here suppose I am writing this, if capacitance is 1 farad, find radius. Radius of, by assuming it as the isolated sphere, radius of the isolated sphere. So then our formula is 4 pi fc is equal to 4 pi epsilon naught r. Now this is 1 is equal to r by 9 into 10 power 9. So from this what we can conclude is 9 into 10 power 9 meters. So that should be the radius of this sphere. Having this, if the sphere is having this much of radius, then its capacitance will be equal to 1 farad you will get. And you can observe this will be very large when compared to the radius of this earth here. And so approximately you can say it is 1000 times greater than that of this, greater than that of the radius of the earth here. That means if you are taking a size of capacitor which is nearly 1000 times that of larger than that of the earth, then you will get approximately this 1 farad you will get here. So that means 1 farad is a very big unit. So that is why generally we express capacitor in terms of the smaller units here. And next let us say this. And so then in order to find the capacitance of any system, so that is the formula which we need to apply here. Got it? Q by delta V, potential difference, or you may write it as V. You need to remember V is a potential difference. So that means in order to find the potential difference, that means capacitance of any device, you need that data there. And so next now let us see this capacitance of a parallel plate, principle of parallel plate capacitor. So parallel plate capacitor. The principle of parallel plate capacitor. So that means in this parallel plate capacitor, we consider that a metal plate, a conducting metal plate. Suppose it is given or it is already charged here. This metal plate is already charged. It is having some charge. And let us say this metal plate is A and it is already having some charge plus Q. This plate is already charged. Now it is an isolated plate. Now we are giving that charge to this plate, and so that charge on this plate is Q. Suppose let us say the maximum possible charge on that plate is Q. So that means for any device, for any isolated system or any isolated conducting surface if you are taking, you know there exists certain maximum limit up to which we can charge that object. If you are giving the charge beyond that, what will happen is the breakdown will take place. Like suppose if I consider the sphere, previously we discussed about the conducting sphere. If you are giving the more and more charge to that conducting sphere, then what will happen is it can hold, there exists certain limit for the maximum charge that sphere can hold. Like if you are taking some container, the maximum capacity of that container is 50 liters for example. Still if it is put under a tap for example, and if the still even though if it is 50 liters are completed, then still the tap is in on position. Then liquid will fall into that container and that liquid will overflow from that, right? The same thing will happen for these conductors also. If you are giving some charge continuously to that conducting object, it can hold charge up to certain limit. If you are continuously further also if you are supplying the charge, that charge will be supplied to the surroundings, just like overflowing of the liquid from the container, fully filled container. So that means now that takes place. Why initially it doesn't take place means initially the surrounding medium, which is nothing but air, will act as a insulating medium. That means it does not allow the electric charge to pass through it. But once if you are increasing the charge, the surrounding medium will become conducting, because a strong electric field, more strong electric field will be developed across this if you are increasing the charge here. Because of this strong electric field, the breakdown will take place. The breakdown is nothing but the charged particles will be produced in that because of some ionization principle or because of some other principles. The charged particles will be produced in the surrounding medium, so that it becomes a conducting medium. So conducting medium is just we need some charges, then we call it as a conducting medium, so that it can allow the charges to pass through it, right? And so that such a breakdown will take place, so that it can't store any excess amount of the charge. So if you are giving the continuously certain charge, then that remaining charge will be transferred to the surroundings here, right? So that means for any device, there exists certain maximum limit up to which it can store the charges. And so now here similarly, suppose we are assuming here the metal plate A is already charged to this maximum possible charge. Let it be suppose a Q. Now if you want to store some more charge on this, then if the plate is isolated plate, you can't give any charge. If you are, even though if you are giving, as I said, it will supply to the surroundings. It will hold only that Q. The remaining charge will be transferred to this surroundings. Now, but suppose if you want to give more charge to that, then there exists one principle here. or there exists some logic here. That is nothing but what we should do is we should place here we should place another metal plate here. Suppose here I am placing this another metal plate here. Another identical conducting metal plate is placed very close to this and parallel to this. Let's suppose this is plate B. This is neutral. Plate B is initially neutral. Now let us see what will happen. That means just what we are doing is we are taking a charged metal plate to increase its capacitance. That means we can store more charge, means we are increasing its capacitance. So then for that what we are doing is just we are placing an identical neutral plate near to this or very close to this, and generally we place it both are parallel to each other, and that is why we are calling it as a parallel plate capacitor. That means two metal plates are placed very close to each other and parallel to each other, right? And so now what will happen is, as this metal plate is having some charge, then charges will be induced on this, and we know this is a totally positively charged here, right? This is totally initially the charge will be distributed like this on this metal plate. And so now when this is placed like this, then what will happen is, then charge will be induced on that. Charge induced on that means then we can write this as on the near plate, negative charge will be induced here, and on the outer side then positive charge will be induced here. So that means now here we can write this negative charge will be induced here, and on the outer side then positive charge will be induced here. In the beginning of this electrostatics we discussed already about this. Induction. We can produce the charged objects by the principle of induction. So such a electrostatic induction will take place. So that negative charge will be induced here and positive charge will be induced here. Then if this process, that means just if you are placing a metal plate, then automatically it will take place. If you are just placing a metal plate, then automatically the potential of this device will decrease. The potential of the device will decrease. When the potential of the device will but charge on that will remain same, because it is not connected anywhere. The metal plate A is not connected to any other object, but its potential is decreasing. When its potential is decreasing, we can add some more charge. Now here the doubt is why its potential is decreasing, and for that just you have to remember our definition of our potential. If you remember our definition of the potential, you can understand that point easily. Suppose here I am taking this is a point charge is placed here, and due to this at this point P we need to define a potential. Then what is the definition of the potential? The amount of work done in bringing the unit positive charge from infinity to this place. That amount of work done for this unit charge is nothing but we define it as a potential, right? If we are bringing some test charge Q0 from here, the amount of work done per unit charge is nothing but we define it as a potential. Now here actually why we need to do certain amount of work means, suppose if it is a positive charge, there exists certain repulsive force between this charge and the what the charge we are bringing, the test charge what we are bringing. And so that against that repulsive force we need to, suppose here this charge is somewhere here. When the charge is in somewhere here, when it is during the displacement process, then there exists some repulsive force like this. Electrostatic repulsive force will be there along this direction, and against that force we need to apply some external force like this, right, to bring the charge to displace the charge slowly to that point P. Now here to decrease, suppose here we are getting this value as some 20 volts for example. Now to decrease its potential, simply if suppose what I am doing is to decrease the potential at that point, if suppose I am placing some negative charge here, a negative charge minus Q is placed here, then let us see what will happen. Now the force on this Q0, the repulsive force on this Q0 will decrease, right? Because of this capital Q, repulsive force will be there, and because of this minus small q, attractive force will be there here on this. That means on the Q0, now two electrostatic forces are acting. Initially only one repulsive force is there. Now one repulsive force is there and one attractive force is there. And so because of that, the force acting on this, the net repulsive force acting on this is decreasing, right? When this force decreases, the external force to be applied is also decreases. When external force decreases, work done also decreases. And when work done decreases, automatically potential also decreases. Right? So that potential at that point also decreases. If you are bringing a negative charge nearby a positive charge, then potential in the surroundings of that charge will decrease. If suppose the same charge is a positive charge if you are assuming, it has a plus q if you are assuming, then if this charge is also plus a small q, then this also exert repulsive force on this. And so then net repulsive force will increase. Right? If net repulsive force increases, external force to be applied also increases, and thereby work done also increases, and when work done increases, then this potential also increases. That means in the surroundings of a charge, if you are placing an additional positive charge, then potential in the surroundings of that medium will increase. If you are bringing an opposite charge, that means negative charge if you are placing nearby a positive charge, then potential in the surroundings will decrease. Not only at this point here, at any other points you may consider here, that potential will affect there, right? And so that is the effect of bringing the positive charge and negative charge, or simply you can consider a logic like, if potential due to this positive charge at this point is suppose say like 20 volts what we are considering here initially, and if this charge is not there, only this minus q is there here for example, then potential at this point is, let us consider it as some minus 4 volts, only this minus q. Then potential at this point is nothing but, net potential is nothing but V1 plus V2 we need to write. So which is nothing but 20 minus 4, 16 you will get. Right? So that is a simple logic here. If it is a plus charge, then potential due to that positive charge is also positive, then plus 4 you will get. If it is plus 4 means then 24 you will get. That means if the charges or surrounding charges are positive charge or same charge, then potential will increase, or if the charges are opposite, then potential will decrease. So that is a simple logic here. Now here similarly, due to this negative charge, potential will decrease, and due to this positive charge, potential will increase. Potential of this plate A will increase. But here, the negative charge is close to that of plate A when compared to the positive charge here. And so more effect will be there due to this negative charge here, so that the potential of this plate is decreasing. When potential of this plate is decreasing, then we can add some more charge. Right? We are adding some more charge means we are increasing its capacitance. So that means just by placing this neutral charge here, and because of the induced charges appearing on that neutral plate, we are able to increase the capacitance of the device, so that we can increase this some more charge here. We can add some more charge to that plate A, right? Suppose again we are reaching this maximum limit, but still if you want to further increase the capacitance, after further adding that charge, then there is another step will be there. So that another step is nothing but, you can connect this plate to the ground. If this neutral plate is connected to the ground here, if this metal plate B is connected to the ground, then we know what will happen. And actually for this charge distribution of the plates we already discussed there. Simply if, let us say if this grounding is not completed till, then charges on these surfaces will be, Q is the charge given to this. That means if two plates are there like this, and if only charge is given to this, and about these parallel plates we already discussed in the applications of the Gauss law. Charges on this outermost surfaces will be half of the total charge given to that system. So Q by 2 and Q by 2 will be there, and so then here also Q by 2 will get, because sum of these two charges must be equal to this given charge, and if this is plus Q by 2, then this should be minus Q by 2 will be there, so that the net charge on this plate will be 0, minus Q by 2 and plus Q by 2. About this we already discussed here. So such a charge distribution will take place. Now if one of the plate is connected to the ground, then what will happen? The total charge on the outermost surfaces will disappear, or that will flow to the ground. That means total charge on the outermost surfaces means Q by 2 and Q by 2, that will flow to the ground here. That this type of problems we already discussed in parallel plates in Gauss law application. So the same thing will happen here. That means after grounding, no charge will exist on the outermost surfaces. Then here also no charge will exist on this outermost surfaces here. So similarly this side also no charge will be present here after connecting it to the ground. Now we can observe this. After connecting it to the ground means then the charge on this plate is not still changing here. Simply what will happen is, whatever the charge is there, the total charge will come inside only. The total charge will come inside only. And so that here instead of this q by 2, q will be there and this will be minus q will be there. That's only will take place there, right? And so now here, now let us come back to the principle of this capacitor. So that means now when compared to our previous step, so in the previous step what we discussed is, this positive negative charge is there and this side positive charge will be there. Due to this negative charge, potential of this plate A is decreasing, and due to this positive plate charge is increasing. The potential is increasing, right? But now that positive charge is not there, only negative charge is there. So only negative charge means the potential due to this will decrease here. The only decrease will take place here. Like in our previous example, if I am adding this one more charge here, suppose here plus q charge will be there, and so now due to this plus q, suppose here this potential is, then you should take plus q this side here. So then due to this, suppose this plus q, the potential at this point is plus 2 volts. Then this is plus 2 volts is equal to, then point P is not here, then point P will be this side only we need to consider if you want to compare with this. As I am taking here, at any general point I am defining here, but actually according to, if you want to compare this, the point P, because we are calculating potential at this point, so potential, that point P need to take this side, so that negative charge will be closer when compared to the positive charge. So remember that. And so now this is the situation here, so that this potential we are getting it as 18 volts. Now for example, if this charge is removed, that means if this positive charge is removed, then only the net potential will be 20 minus 14, 16 you will get here. That means when compared to both positive and negative charges are there, when this only negative charge is there, the potential is further less. That means then potential of this plate here will further decrease here, because initially one charge is trying to decrease the potential, other charge is trying to increase the potential, but now the charge which is trying to increase the potential is not there. So only this charge is there, because of this that potential will further decrease here. And so when potential of this plate A is further decreasing, we can add some more charge to that plate. So that again we are increasing the capacitance there. That means we are further increasing the capacitance when compared to our previous step. So now this is nothing but the principle of this parallel plate capacitor here. So the principle of parallel plate capacitor is nothing but we place a neutral plate near a charged plate and we connect the neutral plate to the ground, so that the capacitance of that isolated plate or the capacitance of the first plate can be increased. And so now these two plates together we call it as a capacitor. These two plates together we call that as a capacitor. And so now what we defined previously, that V by that capacitance C is equal to Q by V. Now that V is nothing but the potential difference between those two plates we need to define here. And actually one more step is there to increase the capacitance. Further still, after grounding this also, further if you want to increase the capacitance, then what we can do is we can introduce a dielectric here. So this total space between the two plates can be filled with the dielectric medium here. Can be filled with the dielectric medium, so that the capacitance will further increase. And about the effect of this dielectric, we will discuss it later. And so just you should know about that. We should further, if you want to further increase that capacitance, we can you can introduce a dielectric medium here. So just to mention it as a single statement here. And about this parallel plate capacitor, then read the textbook about the principle of parallel plate capacitor. So here just in this total explanation is not required for you, but so just mention this final conclusion there here, right? So first just to define about the parallel plate capacitor. When two metal plates are placed parallel to each other at a very small separation, constitute a parallel plate capacitor. So here remember that parallel plate capacitor means those plates may be of any shape. It need not be a square, it need not be a rectangle, it may be a circular plate also. It may be a circular plate or a square plate or like a rectangular plate. So any shape of that plates may be there, just those two plain plates must be there, and those two plates are very close to each other, that's it. And actually the circuit symbol for this capacitor is, so here mention about that circuit symbol here. The circuit symbol for this capacitor is nothing but it appears, looks like similar to that of a battery or a cell. So this is a circuit symbol for this capacitance here. So in case of cell, we represent with the parallel and unequal length. This is the symbol for this cell, and this is the symbol for this capacitance here. So two lines of equal length. If these two lines are equal length, then it is a capacitance. If those are unequal length, then it represents a cell or a battery. So represent that, write that. The circuit symbol for the capacitance is, the circuit symbol for the capacitance is, so just to draw this symbol. Next, write in the next paragraph here. The principle of parallel plate capacitor is, the principle of parallel plate capacitor is, we place a neutral conducting plate means if we place a neutral conducting plate parallel to a charged conducting plate, then its capacitance increases. Its capacitance can be further increased. By grounding the neutral plate. And its capacitance can be further increased. By introducing a dielectric medium between the two plates. Right? So then that is the principle here. Just you can draw this without this dielectric, you can draw this diagram like this. So plate A is having some positive charge here, and B is we are taking like this, and it is grounded. So it is the principle of this parallel plate capacitor. So that means now it is said to be a parallel plate capacitor. Now two plates are placed very parallel to each other, and then one of the plate is grounded. So grounding is not a compulsory condition. That depends on the given problem. It may be grounded or may not be grounded. Just our parallel plate capacitor means we can say two metal plates are placed very close to each other, right? And next we need to derive an expression for this capacitance of the parallel plate capacitor. So that I will explain it in the next class, right? So once you go through the principle of this parallel capacitor and go through the theory related to this, right? Thank you.